Hey, welcome back. If you like the content, please take 1 second to give us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. Please post in the comments what you liked most about the last class and why you want to learn Python. Previously, in video 2 of class 1, we learned basic syntax, conditional statements, and did some code examples. Today, in video 3 of class 1, we'll go over 5 more coding examples building your knowledge on variables, basic syntax, mathematical operations, conditional statements, iteration of a range, and finally, functions to perform repetitive tasks. We'll then do some interactive coding in Jupyter Notebooks. If you don't have Jupyter Notebooks, click on the blue professor next to the TWTC and pick the video called How to Install Anaconda. It's free and it comes with Jupyter Notebooks. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of the videos we post every week, please subscribe and the YouTube algorithm will alert you. Now, let's get back to class 1.
So here's 3 of 5 code examples that are going to demonstrate the use of data types and variables and basic syntax. So let's look at these. So when you have number 1, using variables and basic syntax to print a greeting. So the variable is name, lowercase, equals, the value is John, and we put it in quotes, which is a string. And we're saying print, quote, hello, comma, space, and then with another quote. So it's going to print the comma and the space because it's within the quotes. And then we're going to add the name and another plus sign, and then we're going to print again within quotes the exclamation point. So if you see the output on the right, hello, John, that's what's printed. So the reason I'm giving you these examples is I want you to copy these, put them in Jupyter Notebooks, try it, and then try to write sentences and try to use this kind of format to just get a kind of feel for what you can do with your code. Number 2 is using a variable and data types to perform mathematical operations. So you can have x is equal to 5, y is equal to 2.5, z is x times y. So what you're doing is you're putting x into memory, 5 into memory, then you're putting 2.5 into memory, then x times y is going to equal 12.5. 12.5 has a decimal point, and we call that a float. And the easy way to remember that I mentioned before is if it's a whole number, like 5 is a whole number, 2.5 is a float, which when you multiply it, it results in a float. A float, I think of it as anything with decimals or floating between 2 whole numbers. So think of it that way. The next one we have is number 3. Age is equal to 20, so 20 is put into memory. And then this is an if-else statement. So if you copy that and put it into your code, notice that the print "you are not old enough to vote yet" is on 2 lines, but when you copy it and paste it, it should actually be on 1 line. And it'll print that "you are not old enough to vote" because 20 is greater than 18. So now let's look at example 4, which is a for loop for I in range 5. And we haven't looked at this before, but when you're saying in range 5, print I is equal to the range of 5. And what the computer does is it knows the index, which I'd mentioned before, always starts at 0. So it's going to print 5 whole numbers, but the 5 whole numbers it's going to start with 0. So it's going to print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, what it printed are the actual index numbers. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the index placements that when you have a list, the first value is always 0. It's just good to remember that. So number 5, variables and functions to perform a repetitive task. So there's a greeting name. So print hello, open quote, plus name, plus close quote. So remember in the previous example, name was stored into memory, which is John. But later, if we say greet, we're saying define greet, and we're defining greet as John, and we're defining greet as Sarah. So it will, when we first define greet as John, it'll print John, and we first define greet as Sarah, it'll print Sarah. So let's look at these examples in Jupyter Notebook. So in Jupyter Notebook, I've just pasted the example John in quotes, print hello, name John. Let's see what that does. So prints hello John. Notice that you put a space here. It included the space, and the name, even though there's plus signs on each side, there's no space in the parentheses here. So if you wanted a space here, you'd have to put a space like that to get a space between the exclamation point and the J. So let's try that. See how that does that. So it's so use these examples, play around with them. Hello, how are you? Question mark. And then hit run. So you can see how it's by changing what's in the spaces, you can change what's the sentence. And by doing this, you're programming, and you're actually learning how to program and how to return the variables and the values that you want within a string. So these are called strings in quotes. And then when you're printing, there's quotes here within the string.
Thanks for watching today. Did you know the average salary of a Python developer is over $100,000 in the United States and is increasing every single year? Please post in the comments why you want to learn Python. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to try out our training website, which has 12 curated classes that will progressively build your Python programming skills, click the 12-week training challenge website below the video here. We also have a free 14-day trial for beginners serious about learning Python. Also available for free are Class 1 slides and Class 1 multiple choice questions to test yourself after finishing Class 1. Look for the blue subscribe button at the bottom of the web page before downloading. If you want to make sure you keep getting videos we post every single week, click on the blue teacher on the left so the YouTube algorithm will recommend them to you. To continue watching the next video in this series, please click the links just below. Also below the video are my recommended hardware essentials for serious Python developers. Please note, as an Amazon associate, I earn qualifying purchases, which help support the channel. Keep in touch, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Love you all.